Now let me ask you, how does comedy structure differ from dramatic structure? Because we're beaten in with this dramatic structure, but there isn't a lot of talk about how comedic structure is different.
Well, when you're talking about structure, you're talking about a 3-act structure, or Michael Haig has his 6 turning points. It's not what's different about the comic hero's journey, as it were, from the hero's journey. And I use that term only because
you have a book called The Comics Hero's Journey.
Which my friend Chris Vogler wrote The Writer's Journey, and I called him up and I said, Chris, I'm ripping you off, but it's with love. I'm taking your title and I'm making fun of it, but out of love.
Yes.
So I think one of the differences is when creating a structure in a comedy, like I say, is that you get to make up shit once, and then you have to play it straight and play it honestly. So if this weird thing really happened, if I'm in this weird situation, what would happen then? So rather than thinking about plot, you're thinking about character. You're following the character through the narrative, as opposed to, and let's throw this at the character and that at the character. So in one sense, dramatic structure is a character, heroes have to be thrown obstacles. Otherwise, they'll just win, right? But think about us. Think about people. We can't even get out of the house on time. Let alone have an obstacle thrown at us.
You're right. Like not being able to get the cup of coffee. It's no.
Right.
There's no. I didn't ask for soy. I asked for whole milk. And that the whole day's gone.
Right. So rather than thinking in terms of, okay, we've got to throw this obstacle at them, we have to have this villain. What you notice from watching a lot of comedies is that you don't need villains. You don't need antagonists in comedies. Sometimes there are, simply because of the structure of the story, but you don't need them. Who's the antagonist in Groundhog Day? It's himself.
Yeah.
He has to evolve from himself. Who's the antagonist in 40-Year-Old Virgin? There is none. No one's trying to stop him from getting laid.
Right. He has to break through his own thing.
In fact, everybody is hell-bent trying to help him.
Right.
So there's a number of differences. In a dramatic structure, you have a hero who has all the skills they need to do whatever they need to do. Bruce Willis in Die Hard. No, he walks on glass with no shoes, and he kills like 8 dozen bad guys, and he has wisecracks all the way throughout. He's got all the skills in the world, and so you have to keep on figuring out how can I make it harder on him and harder on him. Whereas in a comic structure, your hero starts off with a minus, a negative. They're broken. They have a hole inside them that they don't know. They're not aware of. So in the beginning of a comic story, your character thinks that they're fine. We in the audience can tell, well, that guy, Phil Connors in Groundhog Day, he's a jerk. That guy, Andy in 40-Year-Old Virgin, he's a dweeb. He needs to, meet a girl. But they think everything's going okay. They don't want to rock the boat. And when something happens to rock their boat, the first thing they try to do is they go into denial. It's not happening, or they desperately want to go back to the normal world that they think is working for them, that we see is not. And then what happens over the course of the structure, as these broken people who start their stories off with with damaged or absent relationships, they gather families around themselves. Mm-hmm. And so everybody, every character, every hero character in a comedy is forming a kind of dysfunctional family around themselves to help them through their transformation. And when they get to the end, there's usually a segment in which there is, and this is similar in dramas, there's an all is lost moment.
Right.
But why that's so important for comedy is that people sometimes forget that the most important moment in a comedy is the pain, is the loss, is how characters deal with that pain and that loss, as opposed to, well, let's just make it funny. Well, here's another funny thing. Well, here's another funny thing. Wouldn't it be funny if we do this, or wouldn't it be funny if we do that? So part of the difference of the structure is that in the hero's journey, the hero goes off into the unknown world and brings back an elixir that will heal the world, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. In the comic hero's journey, the comic hero is thrown inadvertently or against their better judgment or against their will into a world they don't want to be in. And as a result, have to transform and thereby heal themselves to be better able to be a person, a mensch mm-hmm. in the world. So they're not really changing the world as much as they're changing themselves. So all comedy is transformational.
That makes amazing sense.
A character in a comedy doesn't realize that they have to change, but they have to change because the world as they knew it is taken away from them. They're in Oz, mm-hmm. or they're a 30-year-old man when they're really 12 years old, or they're living the same day over and over again, mm-hmm. or they just find themselves in a weird situation. And what do they have to do? They have to become different, even though they don't want to become different. And over the course, so another difference in structure is that in a dramatic structure, your hero has a goal in the beginning of the movie. I'm going to catch the killer, or I'm going to solve this mystery, or I'm going. What does Luke say in the beginning of Star Wars? He says, "I want to be a pilot. I want to join the rebellion." So what happens by the end of Star Wars?
He saves the rebellion.
He's a pilot and he joins the rebellion.
Right.
But in a comedy, your hero has a short-sighted goal. Their initial goal is wrong-headed or short-sighted. What does the kid in Big want? He just wants to be big enough to ride on a ride at a carnival to be with the girl of his dreams.
Right.
What does Phil Connors want? He just wants to get a job. Well, in the beginning, he just wants to get a better job at a bigger news station where he can be a weatherman in a bigger station, a bigger network.
Yeah.
In 40-Year-Old Virgin, what does Andy want? All he wants is to be left alone because his days are filled. He's playing Halo. He's practicing the tuba. He's painting his little figurines. He's happy. Yeah. He thinks he's happy.
Right.
So what happens in a comedy is that your characters have a discovered goal, mm-hmm. a goal that wasn't apparent to them or us in the audience at the beginning of the movie that later becomes something they discover as they're transforming. And so midway or half, 3/4 of the way through or 40% of the way through, they discover that they want something else. They want something new. And then they put all their attention and focus to try to get that discovered goal.
That's a great answer, sir, to a question. Yes, the comics hero's journey. It's all there. It's all there.
It's all in here.
It's all in here.
Available on Amazon and Kindle.